6 p.m. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Kanuz Ashraf. First, the headlines. Pakistan has called back its High Commissioner from India for consultation over harassment of its diplomats in New Delhi. The National Assembly was informed today that gap between demand and power supply has been bridged. Pakistan and Kyrgyzstan have agreed to boost their bilateral relations in defense and other fields. Turkish Prime Minister has called for reforms in the United Nations to end global conflicts. A new convoy carrying desperately needed food aid entered the rebel enclave of eastern Ghouta in Syria today. Russia has warned that it would take retaliatory measures on expulsion of its diplomats by Britain. And now the news in detail. Pakistan has called back its High Commissioner from India for consultation on the issue of harassment of its diplomats in New Delhi. This was stated by Foreign Office spokesman Dr. Mohammad Faisal during the weekly news briefing in Islamabad today. The spokesperson said that deliberate maltreatment of diplomats and their families by India is not confined to a single event and continues unabated despite our protest. He said the total apathy and failure of the Indian government to put a halt to these despicable incidents, sparing not even young children, indicates both a lack of capacity to protect foreign diplomats, post-dated India, and a more reprehensible complicit unwillingness to do so. Regretting that no positive action has been taken so far by India on the issue, Dr. Faisal said security of our diplomats is paramount and Pakistan will take every step in this regard. Urging India to stop playing the Pakistan card in its domestic politics, he said India better not indulge in their political point scoring. To a question about Afghan peace talks, the spokesman said lasting peace in Afghanistan can only be achieved through inclusive intra-Afghan peace dialogue. He said Pakistan has always maintained that peace process to actively pursue it to end the conflict and sufferings of the Afghan people. To a question, spokesperson said Pakistan is not oblivious to arms build-up in its neighborhood, particularly in India, and has been proposing measures for promoting restraints in the use of nuclear technology. The National Assembly was informed today that gap between demand and supply of electricity has already been bridged. Minister of State for Power Abid Sher Ali informed the House during question hour that the PMLN government took power generation to 19,200 megawatt last year, which was 13,500 megawatt in 2013. He said power generation is likely to touch figure of about 24,000 megawatt during summer this year. The minister said that revenue-based load shedding is being observed across Pakistan and no discrimination is being made on the basis of province or company. Abid Sher Ali said that distribution lines are also being upgraded across the country, while 100% mobile meter reading is being ensured in various distributing companies to avoid overbilling. The House has now been adjourned to meet again tomorrow morning at 10:30. Pakistan and Kyrgyzstan have agreed to further enhance their mutual relations in defense and other fields. The understanding reached during a meeting between Defense Minister and Visiting Chief of the General Staff of Armed Forces of Kyrgyzstan, Major General Raimbiadi Dushenbiev, in Rawalpindi today. Khurram Dastagir stressed on further diversification and strengthening of defense cooperation between the two countries through a broad-based agreement. The guest highlighted the importance Kyrgyzstan placed on strengthening defense collaboration with Pakistan. He supported the idea of a wide-ranging MOU on military and technical cooperation. The Khyber Pakhtunkhwa government has signed an agreement with the government of Switzerland to promote tourism in the province. The agreement was signed following memorandum of understanding between Pakistan and Switzerland to open new avenues of cooperation in museum sector through capacity building of museum experts, arranging exchange visits, and conducting joint research programs. This is Radio Pakistan. President Mamnoon Hussain says Pakistan has been hugely affected by terrorism in the region. He was talking to the president of Eisenhower Fellowship George Dilemma, who, along with the delegation, called on him in Islamabad today. He said thousands of Pakistanis have made enormous sacrifices of both life and property in this war. The president said that Eisenhower Fellowship's program has rendered remarkable services in human resource development. He said the fellows of this institution are performing invaluable services for the humanity. On this occasion, President Eisenhower Fellowship's George Dilemma said that he had a very pleasant and memorable visit of Pakistan. Minister of Defense has recommended that a new Tamga-e-Azm be instituted in recognition of sacrifices, resolve, and steadfastness displayed by personnel of the armed forces, the civil armed forces, and the law enforcement agencies against militancy and terrorism. In a statement, Minister for Defense Engineer Khurram Dastagir Khan said that the nation continues the battle against violent extremism with the aim to achieve durable security and stability for all Pakistanis. A reception was held on the Pakistan maritime security ship Basul at Hamad port as part of the ongoing Doha International Maritime Defense Exhibition and Conference. It was attended by a Pakistani delegation led by Federal Minister for Defense Production Rana Tanveer Hussain, Commander of the Qatari Amiri Naval Forces Major General Abdullah bin Hassan Al Sulaiti, Ecuador's Minister of Defense Patriciano Zambarno, and officials from different ministries in Qatar. Besides, a large number of Pakistani expatriates from different walks of life in Qatar also attended the reception. In occupied Kashmir, All Parties Hurriyat Conference Chairman Syed Ali Gilani has said that India is using its National Investigating Agency to harass the Kashmiri resistance leaders and intimidate them into submission. The APHC chairman, in a statement in Srinagar, said that such tactics cannot cow down the pro-freedom leadership. He strongly condemned the interrogation of 4 sons and son-in-law of prominent freedom leader Syed Salahuddin by the NIA. In India, opposition parties are banding together against Prime Minister Narendra Modi for next year's general election. These parties were energized by a win in recently held Lok Sabha by-polls in Uttar Pradesh and the Araria, Babuha and Janabad Assembly by-polls in Bihar. Turkey's Prime Minister Binali Yildirim has termed reforms in the United Nations to end global conflicts as a necessity. Speaking at the 6th Global Baku Forum in Azerbaijan today, he said United Nations based on problem solving and not rivalries in an inevitable necessity. The International Committee of the Red Cross says a new convoy carrying desperately needed food aid entered the rebel enclave of eastern Ghouta near Syria's capital today. The ICRC's communication coordinator, Pavel Kerseks, said in Beirut that the convoy is heading towards Douma, which is the largest rebel-controlled town in Ghouta. Russia has slammed Britain's measures against Moscow over the poisoning of a former agent, describing it absolutely irresponsible. Dmitry Peskov, the spokesman of President Vladimir Putin, told journalists in Moscow today that retaliatory steps would soon follow, with Putin likely to choose the option that most suits Russia's interest. In Pakistan's Super League match against Karachi Kings, Peshawar Zalmi won 170 at the loss of 5 wickets in 19.2 overs a short while ago. Earlier, Peshawar Zalmi won the toss and elected to bat. In another match, Quetta Gladiators will take on Islamabad United tonight. And finally, the weather report. Mainly dry weather is likely to prevail in most parts of the country during the next 12 hours. To end the news, some of the headlines once again. Pakistan has called back its High Commissioner from India for consultation over harassment of its diplomats in New Delhi. The National Assembly was informed today that gap between demand and power supply has been bridged. Pakistan and Kyrgyzstan have agreed to boost their bilateral relations in defense and other fields. A new convoy carrying desperately needed food aid entered the rebel enclave of eastern Ghouta in Syria today. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analyses, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com Radio Pakistan News Official.